Did you know, because I didn't, there are over 7,000 species of lizards on planet Earth, and some can make good pets, others not so much.
I did not know that. That's a lot of lizards. Today, we're getting a crash course in some of these 7,000 lizards. So that means it is time for a creature feature. Here on Good Day PA, we are talking geckos and chameleons this half hour. Here we go.
And of course, back with us is Jesse Rothager of Forgotten Friend Reptile Sanctuary. Also, his daughter Viola is with us, who's been coming on the show since she's about 2 or
One.
One?
Wow. Yeah, we had her on here at age 1.
I remember, I knew you before you were born, and now you're 8 years old. So it's good to have you back with us. Let's start with the fact that we were surprised. 7,000, more than 7,000 species of lizards. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a lot. Well, hello, folks. We don't have all 7,000 today, but we are going to meet 5.
Hey, that works.
So we'll get at least 5 lizards in 3 species. And so as a reptile rescue, we get calls for a lot of reptiles that are good pets. And as a rescue, we get calls for a lot that are not the best pets. We have a few different ones. Should we start with the geckos?
Let's start with the geckos. Tell us
really
about
cute.
them. And do they make good pets?
Viola,
Viola,
They are very calm. They haven't moved yet.
Why don't you tell us what kind of geckos they are, where you find them in the world, and how big they get, what they eat? Do you give them cheesecake? Do you give them candy?
Please say yes.
So answer a few of those questions.
Well, these geckos can live in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India.
So what are they doing here?
That's far away from home.
Yeah, here they live in our reptile room now. Do you want to mention their names and what you feed them?
Well, we feed these crickets and very small cockroaches.
Sometimes their own skin. You can see on screen they're eating their own skin.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, that's a little weird. You won't find shed gecko skins in your cages like you find shed snake skins because they snack on it. But these are leopard geckos, and these are one of the best pet geckos. They're primarily nocturnal in the wild, and because they spend a lot of time active at night, they don't need the synthetic sunlight as much as other gecko species. So if you're looking at some tropical gecko species that spend all day in the sun, that's an extra special lighting you need to have if you want a pet tropical gecko. But these guys being more of a desert gecko from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, India, they don't need quite as much special lighting, but they do need special heating. They do need sometimes some vitamin dust. If you ever made shake and bake chicken, reptile people make shake and bake bugs. So we shake and bake vitamins onto their crickets and their roaches, like Viola said, their worms, stuff like that. So those are pretty cool.
Okay, pets. Okay for a pet.
Leopard geckos, definitely easier.
Okay.
Now, is that something you can find anywhere? I mean, I know they're from the Middle East, but can you find them anywhere in the U.S.?
Leopard geckos are probably the most common pet gecko you'll find at pet stores all over the United States.
Okay, this guy, though, is so cool.
Yeah,
Chameleon.
if you're watching, you might wonder, is this a real lizard? Is it a statue?
Oh, it's real.
So this is a real one, and these guys are similar to us. How many limbs do you guys have?
4.
So we kind of have 4, and these guys kind of have 4, but see this tail?
Yeah.
See if you can get a close-up of that tail on my finger. That tail is like a 5th
looping around.
limb. Look at how it's hanging on there.
Oh, wow,
and so we're going to demonstrate that a little better. You guys pick up the vine, and I'm going to show you how well these guys climb.
Okay.
So like us, they have 4 limbs, but it's kind of 4, kind of 5. How many toes do you guys have on your feet?
I think 10.
So
yeah,
you
we
also
add them together, yeah.
So you would have 5 toes on each feet, but they're all on one side. Geckos have 5 toes on each foot. I'm sorry, chameleons have 5 toes on each foot, but they are on both sides. He's going to start climbing on you, Adam. He's a little spiky, but look at him moving there. And so if you see those feet, look, they have 2 toes on one side, 3 toes on the other side. We call those feet bipedal because each foot has 2 sides to it. So they're very similar in some ways. They have 2 eyes like ours. But look at how those eyes get moved independently. So they can look one way with one eye and one with the other, and they eat all their food by shooting out a projectile tongue.
Wow.
That is crazy. So the question, good pet, bad pet?
These, I would say, good pet, but advanced pet, not a beginner pet.
Interesting.
So they're going to need special lighting, special humidity. They don't appreciate this handling as much as other reptiles. So,
Sorry, buddy.
If you want a reptile that you want to handle every day, probably not a chameleon. His colors are getting very pretty. That means he's sort of showing off, and if he's...
that's okay. We all do, right?
Yeah, we all need to sometimes. So,
very good. If somebody has an unwanted reptile or lizard, how do they get in contact with you? What should they do?
go to ForgottenFriend.org. That's our website. Forgotten Friend Reptile Sanctuary is ForgottenFriend.org. So you can reach out to us. Some we take in directly. Sometimes you can just post them for adoption through our Facebook page. So one way or another, we can help you network a good home.
Perfect.
Thank
and
you
you're gonna
so
have
much for
more
being here.
For us next
Yeah,
hour.
the big lizards are coming up next.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well,
Thank you
for that. Iguanas are one of the most popular pets, but are also one of the most commonly unwanted reptiles that come into rescues. But why do you think iguanas are the most commonly unwanted pets?
So these guys start about the size of a mouse. Imagine they're going to hatch in a clutch of maybe 30, 40, 50 eggs. So yeah, a girl like this, Emmy, she will lay sometimes 30 eggs at a time. What's the most babies you ever had at one time?
One.
Just the one. Okay, now imagine doing that times 50.
No.
So it's a lot.
I don't want to.
That's why they don't take care of their offspring. But anyway, you can take care of them. We gave you some fruit here. Iguanas are herbivores. They're vegetarians. Fruit is not what they need every day. Fruit is just what they want. It's like their
trying
dessert.
to think about it. She's like licking it.
Watch your fingers. Your fingers look like grapes, and it's not going to feel good. They don't look like they have teeth, but they have teeth.
No, she's hungry, Jeff.
So she is. She'll get started. So you can work on feeding yours. I'm also going to feed mine too. Usually they're eating leafy greens. Oh, looks like Buddy is starting up. Oh boy! Right. This one's kind of hard. I'm going to feed my other one. This is going to be a little easier. Can I get a shot of Viola in here? I'm going to try. Here you go, girl. Watch out. Oh, she has big teeth. Oh boy, I think those are mostly her adult teeth now. All right, I'm going to try to get Buddy going here.
So you talked about their diet, but what about their size? You said how they start small, very small.
Sorry,
so
that's
they're
what I meant to
cute
do.
and adorable, right?
Yeah.
How big then?
They start like these little tiny mice, green mice, and then they get 5 or 6 feet long. They get enormous, and so they live a long time. Could be 15, 20 years. They live a long time, and then that large adult size, long lifespans. 2 main reasons that people give up any pet. The other thing to keep in mind with iguanas, they don't cost a lot to take home. You might see an iguana for 10, 20 bucks.
Interesting.
And you might see a bearded dragon for like $100, and you go, oh, well, the iguana's a lot cheaper. Well, if you get something like a bearded dragon, it's much less expensive to keep. Our iguanas need a giant outdoor setup. I think I sent in some pictures of the outdoor habitat that we have for these guys because they just need so much space.
What about in the winter? Do they still use that in the winter?
No, you can see that's only their summer setup. You can see corn growing in the background there. But it's too chilly to have them out there if it's, say, much cooler than 70 degrees during the day. We're going to bring them in. But this time of year, they have lots of artificial sunlight. They need to have special sunlight to get strong, healthy skeletons like these guys do. Good skin, good healthy bones. So they have artificial sunlight. They have heat lights. They love baths. Both of these guys are in the bath. This girl loves to get hydrated in a bath, clear herself out, and she'll just soak in there sometimes.
Whoa.
They'll tail whip sometimes. Viola just got a tail whip.
We're just about out of time, so how can folks get more information about what you do?
Oh, visit ForgottenFriend.org, and we do lots of programs in the community, school assemblies, family events. Of course, our YouTube channel has lots of fun adventures. There's a lizard that just showed up in a car that came up from Florida. That's going to be on our YouTube channel. Discover what loose lizard someone found in their BMW when they drove it here.
We're going to have to feature that on Good Day PA too.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things.
All right, well, thank you so much, Viola. Great to see you too. Happy New Year to both of you. It's really nice to have you back in the studio with us.
Happy New Year.
We will be right back.